8-pound matchup. For the Cyclone varsity, a sophomore from Silver Springs, Maryland, two-time Maryland state champion and national prep school champion, Kelly Ward. For the Cyclone alumni from Brentwood, New York, a two-time All American and the first four-time Big 8 champion in history, welcome back Pete Galea.
Now this, if I may be so bold as to give an opinion, is going to be a first-class match.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think you're just going to see all kinds of activity out there. It isn't going to be a stalling type match because Pete Galea, as we all know over the years, has always given a lot of treat to the fans with his cradle moves, whether they be from a stand-up position or otherwise.
A single shot by Kelly Ward. He's a sophomore at Iowa State. Tremendous promise.
Galea has an overhook, which is referred to as a whizzer. He took it out of there now, and he's trying to combat him off with a forearm.
It used to be that the single leg was a big offensive maneuver, and now these days, a lot of people teach their kids to take that single leg and counter it.
Stay in the center.
You take a wrestler like Pete Galea, he's a good counterman from there. I wouldn't surprise me to see him end up in a cradle from that position. That's what he's going for right now if he can get over the top of that head, but he missed it.
And out.
Stay in the center of the mat.
In a recent Northern Open, just a couple of weeks ago, Pete Galea beat last year's national champion in this weight, Kemp of Wisconsin, who was some wrestler. And
yes, he was.
Galea beat him 7-1, had him on his back. And in that same meet, Kelly Ward lost a referee's decision to this boy, to Kemp. So they didn't meet. But they wrestled too. Pete Galea is still at Iowa State, although his eligibility is gone.
Galea went in for a single, or excuse me, Ward did, and looks like he's going to get it. The referee awards the 2 points.
Yep, he gave it the 2.
Good single leg attempt, got in there deep on it.
45 seconds left. These are all 2-minute periods. John Peterson's the referee. There is Pete Galea. That probably was taken last year or the year before. And as you see, the only wrestler ever to win 4 Big 8 championships. And when you think of how many great wrestlers there have been in the Big 8, that's some feat.
Real good sit-out maneuver to a stand-up maneuver, and as a result, a 1-point escape.
Pete Galea came from New York. As a matter of fact, he came from the same school, I believe, as Bob Antonacci. Antonacci was the one recruited, and Galea just sort of came along. And he turned out to be a real winner.
Double leg attempt here by Ward. Looks as though he may score the 2-pointer. He does. The referee awards it.
And they don't see that very often, but it looked like Pete Galea got himself in a cradle. He was on the other side of the cradle.
Off the mat.
Yes, it's not very often you find him being caught in the cradle. It's usually the other way around because he's a great cradle man.
4-1 is the match score here with 6 seconds left in the first period.
I've seen several matches that Pete's been involved in over his collegiate days where he's been behind in score, and the result has been a fall, so let's watch close.
Kelly Ward on top. Galea is going to stay out to the end of the period here. He's just going to let these last couple of seconds hit. There they go. 4-1 at the end of the first period. And in the second period, the varsity man, Ward, gets his choice, and he's going to go up. He'll ride the second period and take the bottom in the third. Galea likes to stay down and work. Slow stand-up and out.
1-point escape. Didn't want to risk the reversal, so I gave him the 1-point escape.
4-2 now is the score. Galea and Kelly Ward. Kelly Ward is now comfortable at 158 pounds. Last year, he tried and tried and tried to make 142, and he just wasn't meant to do it.
You'll see Pete periodically here working up on the arms from a neutral position because he likes to work in there close.
Into a double.
There's his whizzer maneuver. That whizzer is really a great move.
Back in the center.
It's surprising, you know, many times it looks like a move is there, a takedown or whatever, but when they stick that whizzer in, there's a lot of effectiveness there, and consequently they ward off a lot of offensive points.
Ward has gotten in on Galea really well here so far. Looks like a try for a fireman's carry by Ward.
Right now they're just staving each other off, kind of testing each other, and finding out where their weaknesses might be, and neither one of them have very many.
Galea had a reputation of a weakness was on his feet, but he became surprisingly strong at the end of his college career, and you just saw him go in for a single.
Yeah, and he cinched that thing up, but Ward came in there with that overhook, which is referred to again as a whizzer, and he's staving him off. There's no point scored yet.
Now it's going to be a horsing match out there now.
Still no points, and that's a maneuver that Pete's been in many times before. You notice him locking up in there, and that's perfectly legal down there in that situation because they're, for all practical matters, still in a neutral position, and neither one has control. If there was a control situation, he could not do that if he were the top man.
Out of bounds, 23 seconds left. Well, I cautioned, John Peterson just cautioned Ward for
stay in the center,
staying on the edge.
And that lock that Pete had in there, he'd like nothing more than to suck Ward in there pretty tight so that he can work into his pinning situations.
Kind of about half a shot there by Ward. 4-2 is the score. Ward leads in the second period, and we're in the last 10 seconds now.
Leg maneuver attempt on the part of Ward, a counter by Pete with a forearm.
And that's the end of the second period. Unless Ward gets out very fast, you're going to see Galea's ride. He's a tough rider.
He may stick the legs in on here and, of course, work for either the Turk maneuver, overhooks.
Cross faces everybody. He just over the shoulder up on the top and ran the cross face to the other side.
He's one wrestler that can get pretty high and still not be in too much problem. But right now, he is in a little bit of problem. He's up there pretty high in a standing position. It could be a potentially dangerous situation. He may let him go from there, but
John Peterson's going to call it off. Stalemate.
Yeah. He stalemated it. Probably many times one might even call that a potentially dangerous situation, but he made the right call as far as stopping it and starting him over again.
Now they're ready for that whistle. What happens right on the whistle is so important.
Sets out with a duck back.
And there's equality. Ward is out. 5-2, he leads by 3 with 1:36.
Caught Pete a little bit high on that move with his initial set out, and as a result, he could duck back for the 1-point escape.
Neither man has any riding time advantage to speak of.
It was really a double leg attempt there by Pete. He was doing a little bit more reaching than he was going all the way in with his base. That is, in other words, his legs with him.
As I say, he's surprisingly effective on his feet. He gets to those singles and doubles. Sometimes you wonder how he got there.
That's very true. He's a beautiful snap down counter for a takedown on the part of Ward. That's a real excellent move. You don't see that a lot anymore by some wrestlers, but that was excellently executed.
Now 7-2. I must say I'm surprised that Ward is handling him this easily.
I am too. I really am. But that move that Ward made there was just what's referred to.
Now you see the 2 points.
The snap.
Well, we didn't see the 2 point, but
we didn't get it all here.
We didn't get it all. We have to get back to the live action here. Now Galea comes out.
With a 1-point escape and kind of a sit-out combination to a stand-up.
The score is 7-3 in favor of Ward now with 35 seconds left in the match. The alumni versus the varsity at Iowa State University. And Kelly Ward on the right there is from the present varsity. He's one of the really outstanding youngsters at this weight we've had in a while.
Pete's giving him the leg because he wants to set up that maneuver of his own from the feet. He'll go into a cradle or something.
Tried to go out the back door, gets the leg, and he came out right where he started.
He's going to gamble on it.
10 seconds left.
Warning,
a warning for stalling here against Kelly Ward.
No, I cautioned him for the edge of the mat.
He cautioned him once. We're getting a little...
No, I didn't. I cautioned him. Edge of the mat.
Static from the alumni.
Pete's getting a little fancy out there now with that turnaround maneuver. And Ward's got in there on a single leg pretty tough.
And there it is. Well, I'll tell you. There's
a single leg maneuver right there. It's just a regular old duck back under through the legs and countered real well. No points scored, but it was good reaction on the part of both wrestlers.
And the winner is Kelly Ward. He beat Pete Galea, I thought, surprisingly handily. Now, the introductions to the 167 class.
We would like to recognize